reckon we do that first time round.
Yes.
Let's go back.
What are we talking about? Let's go. You're right, guys. Welcome to the Trial and Error podcast. It's our first official episode now after the introduction. And if you're still watching, you obviously kind of want to be there or are giving us a bit of leeway.
Or you've randomly just scrolled on this video and thought, what's this?
What is this? Two people on a sofa just chilling out. But yeah, so this episode is really going to be centered around the topic of gambling and really the impact it had in Reese's life more so than mine. So I'm not really somebody that's ever taken up gambling or kind of had an issue with it in that sort of way where it almost falls into the addiction category. You know, I've done it like recreational for a bit of fun when you're out and you've been drinking and you end up in the casino or whatever, but it's never really appealed to me, and I haven't, suppose, fallen down that hole of using it as any sort of vice or...
Yeah, so you say that. See, I remember, like, when I first turned 18, because that's what you do, isn't it? Like, you, like, milestones, like 16 was, like, a scratch card, or, like, 17 you start doing drawing. And I remember 18, like, is that when you can go out and you can start doing betting. And I remember, like, 18, 19, I remember, I didn't really understand betting, I didn't really understand odds, I didn't understand any of it. Like, my brother would, like, try and teach me what was going on. And I didn't really...
Yeah, I still don't understand.
No, I don't really have a clue. So, like, I remember I had, like, accounts on, like, mainly Sky Bet, and I probably would bet, like, once a week, if that. Like, it wasn't a thing in my life until about, I don't know, 18 months ago, a year ago, and I think I've got a bit of, like, an addictive personality, really. Once I get into something, I have to constantly do it. But, no, like you said, then, like, you've never done it. No, I didn't, honestly, it never phased me. Like, scratch cards don't phase me at all. Like, I mean, I haven't bet now. I mean, it's a year in next month that I haven't put a bet on. But no, it's a weird thing to get into, because, like, you don't, like, I didn't realise the kind of issues that I had with it. It's not really until someone kind of points out to you that you've got a little bit of an issue, or maybe questions how much you're
So
spending.
you didn't,
and then...
it wasn't something that you kind of would wake up going, I need to stop this, I need to stop this.
No, so, like,
I can't be doing this, or...
It's weird, because it's very true, like what the adverts say, you know, once a fun stop, you should stop. Because for me, like, it got to a point, like, I remember, it was my birthday last April, and I won, like, I think I won, like, 2 or 3 bets in the same day, and I won, like, a good amount of money, and I bought, like, an Xbox with it, and I put the rest in my savings, and I remember that buzz from it, like, wow, I've won, like, a load of money. And then, I don't know, like, then it, like, we used to do it in work and stuff, where there was, like, a group of us, so it was kind of socially.
You do the football bets, wouldn't you?
So it was, so it was like because I feel like, because it was social, like, it's not, I don't know.
It was a bit of, it's a bit of fun.
It's a weird thing to explain, because you're doing it socially, it doesn't look wrong, or doesn't sound wrong, or, like,
or feel wrong,
and,
more
like,
to the point,
like we weren't egging each other on or anything. It was just more like, you know, you're doing it together. Oh, what have you got on? Oh, yeah, I'll put that on, or we'll do this, and, like, yeah, like, it become a thing. Like, so I moved out in March, and it was one of those things where once you get all, like, your bills money, like, you take all your bill money out and you go, I'm left with X amount of money, I'm now going to use this for betting. And, like, that's how it kind of started, really. Like, I would, you know, if I won £124, I'd take £24 out, or 100, or, you know what I mean, and leave myself a small chunk of that money to play with. So whereas
now...
So
you're kind of, like, wise about it. It wasn't like, it started off logically. It wasn't like you were placing stupid bets, or, like, trying to get huge winnings.
No, I was that person who would have, like, an 18 fold on. It's like 4 million to 1. I put £1 on it, and I'm walking around Tesco's thinking, oh my god, I'm gonna win 4 million later.
What am I gonna do with
what am I gonna buy? What am I gonna buy? 4 million.
So you were just putting on, like, kind of
like,
proper out there.
Yeah, I never put on, like, but, like, I used to put, like, a £5 deposit on, and I'd put 5 £1 bets on, and they're all, like, stupid, like 200,000 to what, like, and I'd walk around work thinking, I'm gonna buy myself a house, I reckon, later tonight. I'm gonna win it. Oh, this money's gonna come in.
So you said, like, you got into it. Obviously, like, most of you guys, if you're relating, Teresa's kind of story is through like a bit of fun, like other people doing it, and it's obviously something that, like you said, it becomes a social thing, and you're connecting with people over it, which then makes it like a fun experience. So do you reckon that's like almost like a dangerous mask for it to fall under?
But
because it's like it's almost in that like veil of like smoking. It's something that like I feel if you give people the option on their own, if they'd pick up a cigarette knowing what's in it, if they do it, but put them in a group where you get some sort of cred and a bit of coolness kind of associated with it, and it almost becomes like idolized then, and it's then they're not actually liking the smoking, they like the kind of attention and that they're receiving from smoking it, if that makes sense.
It's a weird one because like I've never been to a casino, never ever. I couldn't tell you the rules of any games. I've never been in. I've heard people say, "Oh, I went to the casino and I didn't know what I was doing, won this," and like that's how they get hooked. But for me, I was all about like on my phone. I'd like Sky. I'd like all the main ones, and like it was honestly like it's such a weird thing to explain. Like because people like I said earlier, people will ask you like what's the fun in it? You're losing money, but like when you're winning, that buzz I cannot explain.
It's waiting for the win, isn't it?
I can't explain that buzz to you when like you've just turned £10 into like £200.
Like I said, I feel like anybody that's put like a bet on, like I said, I've been in the casino or every now and then. The only betting that I'll do is extremely rarely the casino.
Yeah.
In where I'm very like conservative about it. I'll be like, I put in only what I know I'm gonna lose, like I'm okay to lose. So it'd be like a tenner or 15 quid, just because it's how often do I do it, sort of thing. But I'll every now and then on like a car competition or something, it's buy like a pound ticket or something. The odds are like the chances of you ever winning it are just so outlandish. But it's the sort of like got to be in it to win it, and that's a pound here and then. And then you go, oh, this one's only 50p or whatever. So it's not hard to like rack up a fiver if you really tried. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I feel like anyone that's ever put a bet on something can definitely just relate to the feeling of like, like you said, walking around work thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like I've been there out like bowling when I've put a bet on thinking, oh my God, what would I do with the Lamborghini? Would I take the money or would I take the Lamborghini? That sort of thing. Like, so I think anyone who's put a bet on can relate to that waiting for the win, and but I feel like the problem comes is when you can't accept the losses, and I feel like that's when it falls into an addiction or that buzz. Like
it doesn't turn into a
as I'll let you explain, but obviously the kind of problem for Reese came. This gambling was starting to become a part of his life when he was in a bad spot, and I feel like obviously anything that's giving you a bit of a buzz and a bit of like a kick in life and making you feel a bit alive and a bit happy, even if it's dwindling and it costs money, you like chasing that feeling.
See, for me, like I realized that the betting wasn't fun anymore, and it was coming with a problem. Was like I remember the game exactly. It was I went to a barbecue, and it was Arsenal Newcastle last year. I remember I stood in the hallway watching the game, and it was like the last 5 minutes of the game, and I've just literally spunked about 150 quid in the last 5 minutes of the game, just chucking on money. And the girlfriend at the time was sat in the kitchen, and she's completely oblivious to it. And I remember walking out of the house to go back home, and I sat in the car, and there was generally a part of me that thought I need to say something, but I don't know. I thought.
So you felt like it was something that you were like hiding at this point.
Oh, it was massively hiding.
So it obviously had clocked that like even you now felt that what you were doing was wrong.
That's when I got to a point because like I used to, I don't know, I thought maybe it was a bit cool spending loads of money, and like my routine when I was working at Tesco's was, I'd get up. So we'd start work at 5:30. I'd leave my house for like 5:10. So I'd be getting up at 4:30 I'll be going down to the kitchen. I've been making myself a coffee, and while the time it takes me to boil the kettle and make myself a coffee, I've probably spent £50 on a game. And so then you're going into work knowing you've lost £50. Then you're kind of thinking, right, what game's on now? So you've got like the Australian leagues, all that stuff. So then you're thinking, right, I now need to try and get my £50 back. So then maybe you withdraw another £10-20.
Now you're not even trying to win. No, you're trying to make up for losses.
You are now like chasing losses, and then like gets to lunchtime, and you think, right, I'm now £100 down. I now need to get my £100 back. So then it just spirals like that, and then like it gets to a point like you are winning. So you can, I don't know, say you've lost £200, but you've won. Maybe you've won £100 back, but you're still down. So then you're thinking, right, and now let's. Because like I said earlier,
how can I make that other £100
like
back?
I said earlier, if I won £124, I'll withdraw £120 and I have £4 left.
Now that buzz is lasting like a little bit
now,
less time.
Now if I win £124, now if I wouldn't
use
I'm using that money to then try and then within 2 days I've spunked for £124. Now I'm thinking I'll go back into my account, withdraw money, and it was just one of those endless cycles where, and then like I said, the people around you, nobody really knows, because you're not going to tell everybody, oh, I've lost X amount of money in this amount of time. But I remember I got to a point in life where it became such a routine in my life. I had to break the routine, and I probably picked the wrong decision in life, but I was like, I need to get away from gambling. So how do I get away from that? Because like I couldn't get away from it. I felt like it was always there. So like football was always on the TV. I'd go and play football with my mates, and they're all betting. I would go to work, everyone's betting. Like it's everywhere. So I kind of took myself away from it. So I broke up with my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah, when you have a problem, it seems to be everywhere then.
Yeah, like so I broke up with my girlfriend at the time, which probably wasn't the wisest decision. I should have like reached out for help at that point. You know, I stopped playing football for a little bit. I stopped watching football. I tried to get away from football as much as I physically possibly could. And like now, like I haven't put a bet on for about nearly a year. But the things I've now developed are I cannot sit and watch a game of football now without biting my nails.
Right.
Because that's what I used to do when it was the last 5 minutes of the game.
Because you ain't enjoying watching the game, you're like.
So I now bite my nails. I cannot. It doesn't. I don't.
You've still got a bet on.
I've got no interest in the game. It could be two teams I've never heard of in my life, and I'm going to sit there and I'll bite my nails because I'm thinking, oh god, this is like nerve wracking. Or and there's one thing I do remember when I was betting. I remember one of my mates won a large amount of money on a bet, and he texted me that his bet slip, but I didn't get it. I didn't look at it quick enough. So he's won that bet, and the next day I'm walking around thinking, oh, I could have won X amount of money, and that would have really helped me out. So then I was down about not winning a bet that I didn't even put on.
Yeah.
Like one of my mates has put on a bet and he's won, and now I'm down because I didn't put that bet on because I was too busy doing whatever I was doing. So no, like betting, if done reason, like the way it should be, it's
like you say, fun. It gives you that buzz, and like I would say that, like I only do it for the 1 in a million chance that I've got.
Yeah.
And I'll do it with, like I said, what I'm willing to lose, and like I obviously, because I know that it's easy to slip into, I just refrain from it. But like you say, you've had everybody going, and I think it does help that I don't have a clue and I don't watch football, because obviously, like if I'm in the casino and people are betting, then I'll think, oh, I'll have a go at this. Yeah. So it's like if you're in that environment and people are doing it and you feel left out, you can see why you've kind of slipped into it. And I probably tend to avoid those kind of things, which is why I've probably stayed away from it.
No, the most what's put me off it for life now is having to have that conversation with my mum. To tell her, Mum, I've got no money, and just to hear her voice.
So is she the first person that you like approached? When you obviously, because this podcast with like you guys and us is obviously about talking about these things. Yeah. And obviously we're sitting here saying we want to talk about these things, and this is a really good one, I think, to open with, because this is what was a problem for you. Yeah. That probably the best thing you could have done is put it in the open, because at least then it's like admitting you have a problem, isn't it? Yeah. Like, because obviously at some point, like you said, you you switched and you knew this is something I shouldn't be doing, and it's something that you didn't want to share because you're embarrassed of it or whatever it was, and you've got somebody there, like your girlfriend at the time, who would have been able to help you,
Yeah,
and
that's
but like you say, what this podcast is about is putting it in the open, because as soon as it's out in the open and you've put it out there, you then accept it, and you can accept the consequences and have that discussion about it and be willing to do something about it.
yeah, because
So
that's probably one of my biggest regrets in life was not opening up and telling anybody, and kind of just going through it myself. Because like I said, I then found myself in a hole where I've lost so much money. I've got to act happy in front of everybody because I can't make it apparent like I'm in shit. And then and it really took over my life, because then, as I said, for a large period of time, all I'm doing is chasing the money that I've lost, and I can't, at this point, this is what the whole point of the podcast is. At this point, I could, as a male, go and open up somebody and say, look, I have a problem with betting. I need your help, because I didn't feel like I could. I didn't feel like I didn't know how to even start. I didn't even know what to do with that. I didn't know like who the right people to go and talk to. And my mum was that first person, and you know I love my mum dearly, and she is the reason why I don't put a bet on anymore, because that voice, I don't want to hear her shout at me like she did last time. But no, like,
motherly love.
And then I've gone into work, and I've kind of spoken to people in work, and I got put through to people. So I didn't know you could do this, but there's websites out there that like block your emails, so then you can't register those emails with. So I've done that, and you can pick a time for 5 years, 10 years, whatever. I mean, I know you could argue, well, how easy is it to make a new email? But can I really be asked to go make a new email?
It is a lot of effort. Yeah.
But yeah,
it's just one kind of barrier to try and
I
stop
think
you, isn't
I
it?
think the main reason I've stopped, and I haven't done it since, is through embarrassment and through shame that I've ruined one relationship. I've then have to come home. I have no money. I'm having to explain to my mum that I have no money to do
Because
anything
of
with,
this problem,
because I've wasted it all on bets, which then I'm having to explain to people I have no money. So for the shame and for embarrassment of it all, I think that is the number one reason I have not put a bet on. And my mum shouting at me.
Yeah.
They're the two. They're the two reasons. Yeah.
But it's like you say, whatever the reason is that you like want to stop, or it's obviously great that you have, and obviously that's it takes somebody to have had a problem to really be able to say the right things and sometimes do the right things for somebody in that situation. Because I know if you come to me, I would have been able to say, why you shouldn't be doing it, and the bad things that have come of it. And
see, it's funny really, because you say that. My brother still bets, and every time he tells me, "Oh, put this bet on," I say, "You're a twat. Why are you betting for?" And he's somehow, betting has not got hold of him. He's really good with this, but every time he tells me I put a bet on, I call him a twat.
yeah.
Yeah, I look at him and I think, how have you not?
It's weird, isn't it? Because some people just fall into certain things and some people don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really weird one, because as you said before, like, somebody else's issue is not always an issue to you.
No.
But I feel like I can definitely see the addictive part of it and how you would keep doing it, because I felt inclined to, just, I may as well buy 5 tickets.
Yeah.
Because I get way more chance from 5 tickets than I do from just 1 or 2. And it's like 5 out of still few 100,000 people. So really, it's not making that much of a difference at all.
Well, yeah, that's the con though, isn't it? Because like I said, I remember my first few bets I'd put on. I'd put like a 5-1 on and put a fiver on. You win that, it's 20 odd quid there. And then, so I honestly, I still remember to this day, the most I've ever put on a bet was a fiver. I remember someone said, "Oh, I'll put 20 quid on that bet," and the sick feeling in my belly that he's put on that much. on one single
That's
bet.
kind of how I would be now.
And then like places like Paddy Power like reward you. So if you do five £10 bets, you get like a £10 free bet. So there was my incentive then. I'm gonna go and put five £10 bets on just to get one free bet as a tenner. So and like the odds would go from I'd go from bets from 5 to 1 and put a fiver on it. So then I was going to like, because I need the money, I'm then going like 10 to 1. I'm chucking 20 quid on it. I'm chucking as much money as I can. Like you said, like you can think of losing. And like it even got to a point where like chucking 20 quid on, I didn't get that horrible feeling in my belly like, oh, 20 quid. It's 20 quid. I wasn't even thinking. I wasn't even processing it's 20 quid. I think the most I put on a bet at one point was about £50. It's the most I've ever put on one single bet.
But to me, that
like, to
kind
you,
of churns my stomach a bit.
£50, that's like someone's like weekly shopping that, and I've spent that in 30 seconds, just 50 quid bang. And like, with that 50 quid, I'm thinking that's going to save me for the 3 days that I've just like lost. But no, yeah, honestly, it's something I look back on, and I can really see how I fell into it. It's, but it's like I said, through the shame and through embarrassment. I haven't touched
obviously
it since.
For like the people watching or whatever, so some of you guys might be sat in the same position as me or same position as Reese, or right in between, and it might stop somebody actually falling in the way that you did. But if you were to say what the main kind of spark that kind of made it become a dangerous addiction, as opposed to just something you were kind of aware was getting a bit out of hand. So because for me it sounds a bit like maybe the losing, being at a loss of a significant amount of money, was kind of fueling a lot more, not more bets per se, like maybe the quantity was not so different, but you needed to make bigger gambles and make more expensive bets just to try and get that back. Like, what was the thing that you would say made it dangerous, as opposed to me putting on
there's
10 bets for £1 a week?
There's two answers to that. I think number one is winning. Like, when you if I said to you now, give me a fiver, and you gave me a fiver and I returned it £100, you'd be like, wow.
Yeah.
So like, and you want to do it again. So like, for me, the actual winning and just thinking, I've just turned £5 into £100. I've just turned £5.
So do you reckon the winning hooked you initially?
100%. Because
like it does, obviously,
like I said,
everybody.
On my birthday last year, I remember winning money, and I bought an Xbox out of it. All I'd done was put a £5 bet on, and I've got enough now, and I've bought a brand new Xbox.
Yeah.
And like, and number two to that question, number two is the loss. Like, because then you go, shit, I need to make that money back. I need to now make however much money you've lost.
Was it just the because obviously I've been there where I'm getting down to, I'll be on like the roulette table, which is the only thing I've done, and I'll be there, and I'll be back down after having gone up like maybe 30 quid. I've got back down to the starting tenner that I had, and now I'm thinking I can either walk away and I've had all this fun, and I've gone up and gone back down, and I'm no better off or worse than I started, or I can eat into this, which I was willing to lose anyway, or I wouldn't have started, and potentially get my winnings back. So then it's kind of making that choice, isn't it? Whether you keep going or.
And that was my mistake with the game.
Is it the wanting to, like, kind of, if you're a competitive person, is it trying to just end on a win? Because obviously I'm like that with so many things, because I'm competitive. I'll be playing my game or whatever, and I'll be playing against people online. I'm like, I don't want to leave the house on a loss or go to bed on a loss. So I'll keep playing till I win, kind of thing. But obviously no money's involved in that. So
now, see, like, I remember.
Do you think it was that, or do you think it was the trying to make this real money back up?
No, see, I remember playing a game. I can't remember what the game's actually called now. I can describe the game, but I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, I remember someone got me into it, and the first 3 times I played that game, I won so much money on it, and that hooked me to the point where, like, I was playing. That's the game I was literally. I'd go to. I guarantee win on this game. 50 quid on it. Bang, 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 20p a spit. Whatever, going, and you get to a point where like you're obviously gonna win every few spins, but you get to a point where you're back at the what you've put in, and like you said, you have that question of yourself. You go, do I carry on, or do I walk away with the money because I've lost no money, whatever. But for me, I was constantly just let's try and win more. So yeah, to answer your question, what was the question again, Isaac?
It's more like, was it trying to get the real money back, so you're worried that you've lost loads of money? So kind of the more like adult version of looking at it, or was it the actual competitiveness of it?
It was definitely trying to make your money back, or make that money, or
so it was trying to get that real money that you've lost back, as opposed to making up for just losing.
100%, 100%. Because, like I said, the embarrassment of
having no money and having
like
to ask people for money, because obviously, like you said earlier, and for you guys, like the men watching, I feel like it is a thing that's still around, and I feel like it is a good thing. Like, a man should want to be able to financially support the people around him, and because really that's what we're looking to do, support a family and our partners and stuff financially, which isn't a bad thing. But with that comes a lot of shame, like you said, and embarrassment when you can't do that. And I feel like maybe some women don't feel that pressure, but obviously some may do.
But for me, it hit me when I remember me and my girlfriend at the time, we booked a Wildwood, and she's really looking forward to it. And I didn't really have the money at the time because I was spending money on bets, and it kind of got to a point where I prioritized so much of betting over other people that, like, I looked at it and thought, would I rather spend 60 quid on a nice meal, or would I rather sit in front of the TV and spend 60 quid on bets? And I said to her, you know what, I'm not really feeling Wildwood. I've looked at the menu, it's not really like appealing to me, and we didn't go out. And you know
now it's
that probably broke her up, really.
Now it's literally
like,
ruining your relationship.
Yeah, because I'm now,
and obviously at this moment she had no idea that.
Oh yeah, she didn't know until, you know.
So now she just thinks you just don't want to do anything. You know, you don't want to go out and kind of treat her to a meal, which, you know, then it's created another problem from just not being able to talk about the gambling problem.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
really leads into the podcast, doesn't it?
Yeah,
like
that's
how hiding problems can not only make them problems worse, like it did for Reese, but it can also like breed other problems just by association and decisions that you make to try and hide one problem.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's exactly that, isn't it? How problems, if they're not dealt with, just breed other problems.
Yeah, they spiral into others, and then it snowballs, and before you know it, you turn into a person that you're probably not, and then and then, like, for me, I went through, I would like to say, a midlife crisis, but I'm only 24, so can you have a midlife crisis at 24? Or is it an early age crisis? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe like a early midlife crisis.
But yeah, that for me is definitely the number one thing in my life that has changed it all upside down, inside out. Is all starts from betting for me.
Yeah, it's but like I say, I haven't run into that problem, and obviously through you, I now know the consequences of that problem, so that kind of stirs you on to like make sure it doesn't become one. And obviously, like you guys watching, you'll now see the consequences maybe firsthand, and you never know, there could be someone sat there right now in, well, maybe not the same position you were in, but something similar or whatever it is, and now they're thinking, God, that's me, like, I need to either talk to someone about it or
and that's kind of, you know, as much as we could sit here and laugh and joke about it, and you know, if that's how we want to get over it, that's fine. But no, that's kind of what we want with this pod, isn't it? We want. I would love somebody, because I had it a while ago. I posted something about it and someone messaged me, but I'd love, honestly, to hear that somebody's watched this and as they've gone, you know what, this relates to me, and they've kind of reached out to get help, or they've stopped it, or or they found ways to manage it. Because if you can manage it, there's nothing wrong with doing it. You just have to do
And
it
like
in healthy amounts.
when you said obviously like laughing about it and we can sit here and talk about it and on the other side of it now, but I think that's like a really good thing, and especially the problem of like gambling is you because you're young and you still got a lot of life, and luckily there's not so many things dependent on you having money. Obviously it never feels like that at the time.
No, of course.
Everybody's always got bills and stuff that they need money for because the world revolves around it, obviously. But something like money, when compared to the actual grand scale of stuff, like you can get money back.
Yeah.
And it's really one of those things where just being able to look at somebody that's got onto the other side of a problem and they're still fine and they're better for it is really like a great testimony to start sharing things and start talking about it and start dealing with it, whatever it takes, however long it takes, however easy or hard it is for you, because it's different for everybody. And with this podcast, we're going to have people on. It won't just be us two talking to each other and kind of side-eyeing you every now and then, but we're going to have people on, and we're going to be having discussions with people that have got through things. So then you're then going to see people that have gone through stuff and they're on the other side.
Yeah.
And you get loads of different people and scenarios and stuff, and have three perspectives then on something, and then the whole dynamic changes again because you've got one who's completely clueless, one who's had some problems and still a bit clueless, and then you got people who can be clueless on completely something else, but everybody's trying to get through their stuff. And it's really good to just kind of sit there and be able to like testify to the idea that we're preaching, that you should just be able to talk to someone about something, and often that's the first step for making some real change.
Yeah, as long as you acknowledge that problem and then you find someone to speak to, then that is always the first step, isn't it? But that is the first step's always the hardest step. But for me, I've found that was the hardest thing to do, was to tell somebody, because that's somebody I didn't know who to talk to.
Yeah.
And then I spoke to my mum and won't ever do it ever again. Sorry, Mum.
Sorry, Mum, for putting up with me. I think you've got a lot more than just gambling to apologise for, to be fair, Reese. But she's only one woman. Do it in stages.
Yeah.
Try and unload all your problems over like 5 years as opposed to giving all your shit in one go. But I feel like that's a good place to end it there, really. And yeah, just really take away that talking to somebody is often the first and best step you can do. It doesn't cost anything, it doesn't take anything. All you need to do is accept the idea that things are only going to get better if it's out in the open and you fully accept what is going on in your life, because then you can start taking some action and responsibility for the way things are.
Exactly that.
But yeah, obviously I've been Isaac, this is Reese, and that was the Trial and Error podcast, second episode, centered around gambling. And if you're still enjoying, or just got so much time to kill that you got nothing else to do, and you just want to hear us talk and yabber on, or even just fall asleep to us, really don't care. But if we help someone, just comment and say if it helped you or you're in that situation. And you never know, that might be your first step too, even if it's writing it in a comment online on a really out there random podcast video, two people on a sofa, that's still sharing it. So speaking of sharing, share this, comment on it, like, subscribe if you like what you heard, like what you saw. And as always, if you want to join the conversation with us, tune in to the next episode.
Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
Why can't we do that first time, man?
Yes. That's what Barry's talking about.